Welcome back, and today we're talking about the day I became a god, episode 8. So like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 8 of The Day I Became a God was definitely setting up some huge emotional moments. And honestly, I can tell you right now, Truck-kun is driving 100% at full speed, and it's gonna hit your emotions so hard. With 4 episodes left, I can already see it coming. I mean, this is only episode 8, and it was hard to get through this episode, right? But before we jump into it, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out. But let's talk about the day I became a god, because we learned a lot about Hina. The episode starts off with Hina having like a dream, or I would say more like a memory about her grandfather, right? Her grandfather seems to have like a disease. He won't be here much longer. And he kind of made arrangements for Hina to go somewhere. We learned that that was Yota's parents. Yota, they used to work with this professor. They used to call him a mentor. So we know this mentor, this professor, he was experimenting. He was doing some type of research that the hacker, Hiroto, he's looking into it. He's catching up. He's catching up to Hina. And I mean, I don't even know what to begin with this episode, because there's just so many stuff that we learn, plus the ending after the credits, what we got, 4 days left. I mean, it's too much, right? But let's kind of try to make it go in order, because it's absolutely crazy everything that we learned in this episode, right? So Yota's parents kind of tell him that Hina was abandoned by her father. Her mother is no longer with us. We kind of learn something about that later on as well. So we see that Yota takes it upon himself to find Hina's parents. Hina, we know she has some powers, omniscient, so she kind of knows where her father is at, and they go to see him. And this is where everything changes, right? This is where everything just kind of makes a 180. And then, you know, this anime, ever since episode 1, yes, we were told that the world would end in about a month. And even though it was a grim prediction, it was always like in the back of my head, like, it can be true, right? Like, the world is not all of a sudden going to end just like that. But I will tell you what I think is going to happen, and what I think Hina meant by the world ending. I think Hina, with her powers that she has, because you cannot deny that Hina does not have omniscience, right? She can actually see everything, or at the very least has a very good success rate in like seeing the future, right? Because how else would you explain her making all these different predictions very early on with the horse racing, the raining, heck, even the game, the shogi or whatever that game was called? How would you predict all of that? She definitely has some type of omniscience, being able to look into the future. That cannot be denied, and I'm guessing it's because of that professor and the research he was doing, because we learn in this episode, after confronting Hina's father, that Hina had a disease called Logos syndrome. Essentially, your muscles, your brain will kind of stop working and you will die eventually, and there's no treatment for it. So that's already a very grim past that Hina has, and I'm surprised she really hasn't talked about it. But that we're gonna talk about that later. I really want to focus about Hina and the end of the world, because I honestly think what Hina is talking about is not in essence the end of the world, but the end of her life, which, depending on how you look at it, right, when she dies, when Hina dies, that is essentially the end of the world for that person, right? Because that person will no longer be in the world. So essentially it's kind of saying the end of the world for her. I think that is what's going to happen, and I can already tell you it's going to hit hard, because this episode, just seeing Hina, how she's taking all this information in, and heck, even at the end when she was telling Yota, like, why are you worried about me, right? The end of the world is going to be soon, right? Like, it's going to be soon, so it doesn't even really matter how my father treated me, right? Like, let's make the best we got with the time we have left. And again, I do think she was referring to her life, and I'm guessing that Yota is catching up to that as well. I think Yota is putting all the pieces together, and he's coming to a realization that just maybe it's not the end of the world, and it's the end of Hina. But we have to talk about whenever Hina and Yota made it to her father's house, and they kind of introduced Hina to them, right? They're all freaked out because they know everything that happened with Hina. She was supposed to be dead. They did not think she was still alive because of that logo syndrome. But the one scene that got me really bad, I was literally, I kind of wish I would have recorded myself and made a reaction video. Usually I try to do those like in the last episode. I kind of wish I would have done that this episode, because yes, seeing Yota, right, whenever he got tea, but they ignored Hina, and he literally thought that nobody could see Hina for that split second. I was like, what a plot twist. I was like left with my mouth open, and I started thinking, right? I was like, wait a minute, let me think back. Let me make sure if I remember like people not acknowledging that Hina was there, right? Like if it was just something that Yota was seeing by himself and nobody else did, right? I was like just thinking back. I was about to go back and look at older episodes to see if it was true that nobody actually acknowledged that Hina was there, right? But no. That was not the case. They got me good. That was a good troll moment, but damn, it was good, right? It was good. But no, it turns out Hina just requested like milk or something. It was taking a little bit longer, but that was good. I gotta give them props for that. They got me. They got me good. But yeah, once the father and the stepmother, right, I would guess, kind of learned that was Hina, she was freaking out. Because I guess the family went through a lot when they were dealing with this, right? They went through a lot. I mean, I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine seeing your kid go through a disease that has no cure, no treatment, and you just seeing your kid just kind of die, right? Kind of die in front of you. And I have to say, I don't have too much respect for that father, because he abandoned a dying kid. I have kids. I don't even know what that would feel like, but I can tell you right now, I would never leave them. You know what I mean? I was just getting kind of emotional just going through that scene, because damn, that's rough. That's a kid. You know what I mean? That's a kid. Anyways, let's keep going. But you know, that was sad. We kind of learned a lot about Hina and her past. So again, I do think the doctor, the professor, the mentor, right, Yota's parents, their mentor, I'm guessing with his research, he did not find a cure per se, but I'm guessing he did find a way to extend Hina's life, and in so giving her that omniscient power. And that's why that corporation that hired Hiroto, the hacker, is looking for Hina. That's why they're doing it, because she might be the key in order to make this omniscient power something that they can monetize, something that they can use, and that's probably going to be like the villains of this anime, right? At the end, after the credit scenes rolled, we see that the hacker Hiroto and his bodyguard caught up to Yota and Hina, right? At this point, they caught up. They're not even like half a day away from where they're at, because they went to the doctor's house. They know who they are. They have all the information. I'm sure they're going to ask about Hina. And of course, 4 days left. So I have so many theories going on in my mind, right? Because now I'm thinking there's 4 days left. So I'm guessing there's going to be two possibilities right now. One, Hina is going to pass away, or her health is going to start to just deteriorate so fast. Again, her father did say, you know, this is a miracle, right? Like Hina surviving past the age of 7 with the disease that she had. You know, he thought she was going to pass away really soon, but it's a miracle that she's over here now running, having fun, smiling, and being healthy, right? It's a miracle. He did say, no matter how much the miracle is, it's only temporary. So that leads me to believe that she is going to die in some way. Again, very sad. And he thinks it is going to happen. And he even told Yota, like, you might live through what I lived, you know, so many years ago. I'm still really kind of salty and mad at the father, because he's not even willing to take Hina in just because his wife reacted the way it did. I will tell you right now, if I find out I have some kid out in the world, which is not the case. Don't think I have kids running around in the world and I don't know about them. I know all about my kids. They're living with me. But if I were to find out that I had some kid somewhere, yeah, that kid is living with me. I don't care if my wife is not happy about it. You know, I'm gonna take care of my kids. But I just, that's a whole different parenting style. I'm just really mad at Hina's father right now. Like, I really hate that guy. Maybe he'll die next episode. Okay, but all jokes aside, I think it's going to come in hard. I think what's going to happen in the next 4 days is going to be hard. It could either be Hina, her health is going to just go downhill to the point where we're going to see all the characters that she has helped, you know, be really emotional, because she has changed so many lives, right? She has changed Yota's life. I mean, everybody's life. Izanami, everybody that we know so far, she has definitely impacted their life. It's going to be really sad. But in some way, it's going to be good. It's going to be different than what her father did. I mean, hate that guy. Because if she is gonna go, her health is gonna like go downhill, and she's gonna get her logo syndrome back, and we're gonna see her pass away. At the very least, we know Yota and all his friends and all the friends that Hina made are not going to abandon her like her father. Again, ooh, he gets me mad. But the other thing that could happen is that corporation, that Hiroto character and the bodyguard might actually kidnap Hina and in some way maybe do some experiments on her that is going to cause her to die. Maybe that could be the other case. I don't think that's going to be it. I think the more emotional way will be Hina's health is going to deteriorate, and we're going to see everybody be close to her. But let me know what you thought of this episode. I really want to know how you think this is going to go, because regardless how it goes, it's going to be emotionally hard. It's going to hit hard, and I can't wait to see how some people that are watching this anime are going to react to it. But overall, great episode. Loved everything that we learned in this episode. But let me know in the comments what you thought. And like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.